Okay, so today I want to talk about something that is a bit of a personal agenda for me. It's something that's been I don't want to say I don't want to say that it pissed me off, but it has been frustrating me for a while. Actually, ever since I started working in Overwatch League, and that is how they took Overwatch, which is an amazing IP with great characters and a lot of character in and of itself, and they are slowly turning it into this money machine. This rather faceless franchise that you see everywhere, but it kind of lost its meaning because you know that where it comes from kind of doesn't matter anymore. What I really mean by that is when you look at how Activision Blizzard has been treating Overwatch ever since its inception, it feels like they were going the lowest effort route possible, which stands contrary to a few things I'm going to compare it to, and some people are probably going to be pissed off about me making that comparison, but I want to make it regardless. So if you look at how Overwatch launched, it's something I briefly talked about in my 50-minute comp discussion with Frito the other day. It seems that when Overwatch launched, they had a very clear vision of what they wanted to do, and they did those things, and people really liked them. So you have this game that combines many, many different mechanics of all kinds of different genres, and it was very popular because no matter which kind of games you were into, with the exception of, I guess, racing games, I don't know, but you had all these different characters that played so fundamentally different that if you pick up Overwatch, chances are very, very high that there's going to be at least one character that you enjoy playing. Even if you are not into MOBAs or FPSs, chances are that you're going to find something that you like. And a big bonus on top of that was that characters don't only play fundamentally differently, they also have different characters. They have different personalities they can like and dislike, and it looked like the story was greater than what we were initially shown. You know, when you saw the reveal trailer for Overwatch and the first cinematics, it looked like there was a lot to it, but over time, I've kind of come to realize how shallow this entire Overwatch world is. Where, sure, you might have characters and you probably have lore, but I mean, it's hard for me to say that I dislike what Michael Chu has done here with Overwatch because, quite frankly, I don't know his work. And it's either that what Overwatch has become, the lore is very, very shallow and terrible, or they made the executive decision to simplify the lore in order to not turn off people who are not into that kind of stuff. This won't be the first time they do something like that, honestly. Like, if you look at World of Warcraft, lore has really taken a turn for the worse. It's been getting worse and worse with every expansion, essentially, and this would also not be the first time that we hear of a big publisher slash developer saying that complicated lore turns people off. Now, obviously, I don't think they would ever admit to that being the case if that was the case, but it still makes me think what this game could have become if they had a bigger focus on advancing rather than stagnating. And this really leads me to what I believe was the start of the downfall of Overwatch as an IP in a sense, where when the Overwatch League started, they took development resources to assist the Overwatch League team. And they have confirmed that in an interview. I don't remember what to attribute it to, but there was an interview where they said, hey, the Overwatch League team was understaffed and we needed to help them to get this project rolling. And that was very important because a lot was at stake with the Overwatch League. And it's not only that Overwatch as an esports was at stake, but esports in large. The success of the league was really important for the gaming community as a whole because it was the first time that esports went really mainstream. And it seemed to have a great success in that way. And I'm glad that it worked out for them. But the fact that they had to sacrifice updating the game itself in favor of doing that really bugs me. And this is where you get to this comparison that a lot of people are gonna hate, but if you look at Fortnite, for example, now I know you may or may not like Fortnite. Fortnite is not for me. I do not enjoy playing Fortnite. I find it incredibly boring to watch as well, and that's the same for other people in terms of Overwatch, right? Like, they think that Overwatch is boring or too convoluted or whatever, but I respect what Epic Games has done with Fortnite, because they have a successful game and they build on it. They're not like Activision where they're like, alright, so we have this plan, year one, we're gonna have seasonal events, we're gonna have a few character releases, and bam, people are gonna eat it up, let's do the Overwatch League. And Epic Games instead, they launched the first Fortnite game, which was Save the World, this like PvEVP kind of thing, wave mode, and when Save the World for Fortnite launched, it was very underwhelming if you played. I played it a lot at launch, and I even streamed it, and I liked it for what it was, but it felt like a budget game in the sense that it was lacking content and it had a lot of convoluted systems on top of each other that would have been a lot of work to rework, essentially. So they just kind of had to ship it because it was already in the works for so many years. And here's the thing, the way I talk about this is not as a informed YouTuber going out there and getting all this information for you. I'm talking about this as a gamer, as a frustrated gamer who, your average person is not going to go out of their way to do a deep research on how many developers are working on this game and how are their roadmaps for the future. Is this game going to get updated and all that stuff? Your average gamer doesn't do that. Your average gamer is really driven by just what their friends say and what they can quickly grasp on social media. So if a lot of people say a game is shit, they're probably not going to play it. And this is why word of mouth is so important. If all your friends are playing a game and they say it's great, they're going to play it as well. And that worked really well for Overwatch at the start. But now it's like, it's just same old, Instead of putting the money into the game itself and starting to update it with meaningful content, moving the lore forward with more PvE-based events maybe, and making some significant changes in the game itself, they just kind of stuck to this formula of, hey, we're going to do these seasonal events every year. They're going to be the exact same with a few more skins, and the events in themselves don't change greatly either. You're going to have the same game modes that get boring very, very quickly, and for me, as somebody who looks at it from the outside for Fortnite, it looks like they just didn't compromise on that. If you think about how there's about 100 devs, if I recall correctly, working on Overwatch, and then you think about Darksiders 3. I don't know if you heard about this game, launched just recently, but Darksiders cost $60, but relative to their budget, it was considered a budget game. It was considered something that should have costed $40. And a lot of people were kind of agreeing on that, where it wasn't an amazing game, but for a budget game made by a development team of 70 people, it was a pretty good game. And if you think about that, a 70-man development team making a budget game, and then you have the behemoth that is Activision Blizzard making Overwatch with a 100-man team. It doesn't surprise me at this point that we're just not getting new, meaningful content. And if you then even take these developers to get them to work on the Overwatch League, then obviously the game itself is going to suffer. Lackluster updates that take a long time to make, new content that, quite frankly, is not great content, like maps and heroes, can arguably make things worse, especially in the case of, the Mercy update and the introduction of Brigade. And then you look at something like Fortnite, where they just don't make compromises. You have this development update where Jeff Kaplan tells us, well, we're not making great reworks on the seasonal events with new content because we had made the decision to focus on quality of life and balance. And then the quality of life improvements and the balance updates take a long goddamn time to actually make it into the game. And they're not always satisfactory either. Meanwhile, I did a quick Google search, what your average person would do who's minorly interested in something, and I read that the original Fortnite shipped with 25 people working on it. And it felt like a game that was made by 25 people throughout the span of many, many years. And then they quickly put together this BR mode. They have a smash success with it. And you know how big their team was, according to the article that I found recently? 700 people working on Fortnite. And whether you like the game or not, you have to acknowledge that they're doing great work with it. The game is being updated regularly, there's new content, there's balance updates, there's new cosmetics, the lore is moving forward, they're making great events, and also all the stuff they do outside the game, right? Not only the in-game events, but also real-life events and esports tournament type of stuff that isn't full-blown, Overwatch League level of dedication, but still a nice event to be interested in if you like Fortnite. And honestly, even I have started making jokes about when is Epic Games gonna buy Blizzard and actually make Overwatch the game that it deserves to be. Because that's ultimately what I care about. I don't care about Fortnite, I don't care about BR in large, but I care about Overwatch. And I want this game to be as great as I hope for it to be when it originally launched. And with the backing of Blizzard and Activision, I really thought that it could get there, but on some point I feel like you have to realize that a team of 100 developers is not enough to give your game the updates that it needs, honestly, to remain big. And the reason I'm talking about this is not because I think, Overwatch is dying or whatever, because quite frankly I think it's still doing okay, but I heard on a rumor basis, so don't quote me on this, I heard on a rumor basis that Activision and Blizzard got in a bit of an argument, essentially because Activision is pissed that Overwatch is not Fortnite. If you look at Fortnite, it's like one of the most successful games on the fucking planet right now. And obviously any developer wants their game to be that. But if you look at the funding that they get, and I don't even know if Blizzard wanted extra funding to make more content, or if they themselves were okay with this mediocrity. Because if you think about it, all the stuff that's like exciting about Overwatch is not actually in Overwatch. You have the animated shorts, you have really cool real-life events and, you know, tournaments and Overwatch League, obviously. All that stuff is outside the game. We don't have lore moving forward in the game itself. We have to go out of our way to get out of the game to figure out what the hell is even going on with this game or where it's moving. You have to look up comics to get lore for this game. And I get that the whole interactions with the characters in the game are not canon, but I'm just very frustrated with this. I understand it's a PvP team-based game and all, but look at the success of Fortnite. Like, really just look at it and think about why they're so successful. I mean, of course, they're following all these formulas that we have heard about already, about why this game is so addictive, and eventually the bubble kind of popped for Overwatch, where it had that same feel, but it still had team reliance. And Fortnite does not have team reliance. And without that component, there's this like big possible frustration factor that is suddenly not there. So even if people get bored of Fortnite, maybe they'll just take a break and come back and have fun again. Whereas if you play Overwatch too much, you can be furious. Maybe not you specifically, but a lot of people are. And it really makes me wonder when I see some of the biggest Overwatch streamers in our community not wanting to stream Overwatch. You see Overwatch players, ex-pro players, current pro players, big streamers get together to play Minecraft and The Forest and whatever else is out there, just so long that they don't have to grind Overwatch for 8 hours a day because of how frustrating it is. And the game itself is not moving forward, which means that even the casual players are gonna get bored eventually, and they're gonna start asking for new stuff, because new stuff is cool. Who does not like new stuff? I mean, arguably, I don't. Some people have that impression, because I don't want new heroes to come as frequently as they are. And it's not that I'm not excited for them, it's just that I think there's always this big potential risk of throwing the game upside down by adding new heroes all the time. And this is why I would much rather have, you know, ongoing PvE content or something like that that I can jump into and have something new. And then I'm already in the ecosystem. I'm already in the game, and I'm like, all right, I just beat this event that's there. I played this game mode that's there. I can go for a few rounds of quick play or competitive play. I mean, look at the franchising department from Blizzard. Obviously, they're doing their job. We got fucking the sponsorship or the partnership with Kellogg's. You got real-life Lucio-ohs. You got Pringles with free loot boxes and Overwatch art on it. We got the Twitch partnership for Overwatch League. We got Overwatch Lego even. We are seeing the faces of Overwatch everywhere, but the game itself is just not moving forward. And I really think that's just my main frustration here. And if you think about why they're doing all this franchising, if you took a look at last year's earnings report for Activision Blizzard and you do the math, there actually isn't a whole lot of space left for them to have piles and piles of money for loot boxes. Quite frankly, I can't even imagine that loot boxes are making them that much money, because really, most of the stuff that's in there is junk. I have not bought loot boxes in forever, and the only reason I even bought Overwatch League skins was because the league itself got me hyped. So if you think about it, all these like franchising moves they are doing with Twitch and the Overwatch League and, you know, Kellogg's and Pop Tarts and all that other stuff, maybe that's just to supplement income. Maybe that's not even to like make a mass move into the mainstream crowd as they have with their esports stuff, or as Fortnite has with, quite frankly, anything they're doing. Maybe it's literally just that the game itself doesn't make that much money anymore. And maybe this is just what they have to do to meet the expectations of Activision. And it's not like I hate any of these things, except for the fact that obviously we in Europe are not gonna get that stuff for a long time, if ever. What really bugs me about this is that they are pushing the franchise, but not the game itself. People are gonna be like, hey, what's up? There's like this stuff and there's like these characters on it, like maybe we should check it out what this is, and then they're gonna see Overwatch, they're gonna play it for a bit and just see that it's not that great, to be honest. So really, in my opinion, the right move would be to make the game better. Have the game be its own advertisement. Have people talk about how great it is. And you can only do that by properly updating it. At least in my opinion. Okay, no, I know this video was a bit different. I originally planned to have Nate here, Nado that is, who has played some Fortnite after quitting Overwatch, and I want to get his impressions on how he feels about the whole, like, Epic Games supporting their game as actively as they are, and Overwatch Blizzard really not doing the same. And to get some insight on that, because obviously I don't know that, but unfortunately he's out of town. I couldn't get him in time to get this video done for my upload schedule, and I had this feeling that, actually, let me just say that I'm very thankful for you guys accepting my switch in content as much as you have. You know, making these like scripted videos, it's fun, it's what I believe I'm good at, and writing for a living was something that I wanted to do for a bit as well, but eventually just exhaust all the topics you can talk about. So being able to just sit down, talk with somebody, and then present that as content and have more insight than just my own, I felt like there was an interesting twist that I wanted to try out, and I was honestly overwhelmed with how supportive you guys were of this new, non-scripted type of content. So okay, I've been rambling a lot in this video. I just want to say thank you guys so much for supporting me. Thank you for watching this video, and yeah, I hope to see you guys next time.